Have you ever imagined spending your golden years exploring the wonders of the world, wandering through charming villages, discovering hidden gems, and creating memories that last a lifetime? Traveling after the age of 70 can be one of life's most enriching adventures. It's a chance to embrace freedom, indulge your curiosity, and finally check off those bucket list destinations. But while the experience can be magical, it's not without its challenges. Many seniors embark on their dream trips without realizing the hidden risks that can turn a once-in-a-lifetime journey into a stressful, even dangerous ordeal. The truth is, what begins as a relaxing getaway can quickly spiral into an overwhelming situation, especially if you're not fully prepared. In today's video, we're uncovering 5 critical risks that older travelers often overlook. These aren't just small hiccups. They can seriously impact your health, safety, and even your finances. And trust us, the final risk we reveal is one that most travelers never consider, but it could end up draining your wallet by thousands of dollars. So if you're ready to travel smart, avoid the unexpected and enjoy every moment of your adventure with peace of mind, stay tuned until the very end. And if you find this information helpful, show us some love in the comments by writing, "I am ready." Now let's dive in. Risk number 1, health emergencies and medical complications. Traveling the world is one of life's greatest pleasures, but after the age of 70, even a minor health issue can quickly escalate into a serious medical emergency. As we age, our bodies simply don't bounce back the way they used to. A change in climate, an unusually active day, or a long travel itinerary can take a much greater toll than expected. Something that felt effortless at 50 can suddenly feel exhausting, and a condition you manage easily at home may worsen rapidly when you're abroad. One of the most serious health risks for older travelers is deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. This condition occurs when a blood clot forms in the deep veins of the legs, often after long periods of sitting, such as during a flight or an extended bus ride. If the clot travels to your lungs, it can cause a pulmonary embolism, a life-threatening situation. The scariest part? Many people don't even know they have DVT until it's already serious. Signs like leg pain, swelling, or shortness of breath often come too late. Another hidden danger is the effect of altitude and climate changes. Airplane cabins have lower oxygen levels and dry air, which can cause discomfort or breathing issues, particularly for travelers with heart, lung, or respiratory conditions. For those with high blood pressure or diabetes, flying may put additional stress on the body. And if you're heading to mountainous areas, altitude sickness can set in quickly, causing dizziness, headaches, and even oxygen deprivation. But perhaps the biggest challenge of all is access to reliable medical care while abroad. At home, if you're not feeling well, help is just a phone call away. Your trusted doctor, local pharmacy, and hospital, all covered by your insurance. But in a foreign country or remote destination, it's a different story. Medical facilities might be outdated, language barriers can cause confusion, and many travelers are shocked to learn that their regular health insurance doesn't cover international medical emergencies. That means a simple fall, a sudden illness, or a flare-up of a chronic condition could lead to out-of-pocket expenses in the tens of thousands of dollars. Let's bring this to life with a real example. James, a 74-year-old retiree, had always dreamed of taking a Caribbean cruise with his wife. He was in great shape, active, vibrant, and excited for the trip. But just 4 days into their vacation, after a day under the sun, James started feeling a sharp pain in his chest. At first, he thought it was just indigestion, but soon the pain spread to his arm, and sweat began to pour down his face. His wife rushed him to the ship's medical center, but the onboard doctors didn't have the tools to confirm a heart attack. They called for an emergency helicopter evacuation, but due to bad weather, James had to wait hours before being flown to the nearest hospital. He survived, but instead of enjoying a relaxing getaway, he spent the rest of the trip in recovery, And the medical bill? Over $20,000, most of which wasn't covered by insurance. How to stay safe while traveling. Get a full medical checkup before your trip. Make sure you're travel ready. Bring extra medication in case of delays or lost luggage, and keep a list of prescriptions and your medical history. Move regularly on long flights. Stand up, stretch, and walk around at least once an hour to reduce the risk of blood clots. Research hospitals at your destination. Know where to go before an emergency strikes. And most importantly, invest in comprehensive travel insurance that includes coverage for medical emergencies, hospital stays, and emergency evacuations. Being prepared can make the difference between a dream trip and a nightmare. Have you ever experienced a medical scare while traveling? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you handled it. Now let's move on to the next important risk every senior traveler should know about. Risk number 2, exposure to infections and contaminants. Traveling is a beautiful invitation to explore new cultures, cuisines, and experiences, but it also opens the door to invisible threats, germs, bacteria, and viruses that can turn your dream getaway into a health nightmare. For younger travelers, a mild cold or upset stomach might be a temporary inconvenience. But for seniors, even a simple infection can quickly become dangerous, leading to serious complications, prolonged recovery, and in many cases, hospitalization. As we age, our immune system naturally weakens, a biological process known as immunosenescence. This makes it harder to fight off illnesses. A virus that a younger person might shake off in a couple of days could linger in an older adult system, bringing fatigue, dehydration, and risk of secondary infections like pneumonia. The hidden dangers of air travel. One of the biggest infection hotspots? Airplanes. Inside that crowded cabin, passengers sit shoulder to shoulder, breathing in recirculated air for hours. Studies show that the risk of catching a cold or respiratory illness significantly increases on flights, thanks to limited ventilation, poor air filtration, and exposure to international passengers carrying unfamiliar strains of viruses. And it's not just the air. Think about the surfaces you touch: tray tables, seatbelt buckles, bathroom handles, even in-flight magazines. These areas are touched by hundreds of people daily, and while airlines clean between flights, true deep cleaning is rare. Germs can linger, waiting for their next host. Contaminated food and water food is a joy of travel, but it can also be a hidden threat. Trying new dishes is exciting, but unfamiliar ingredients, different cooking practices, and varying hygiene standards can lead to food poisoning. Seniors with more sensitive digestive systems are especially vulnerable, and recovery from food-related illness is often longer and more difficult. And don't forget the water. In many countries, tap water contains bacteria and parasites that locals may tolerate, but travelers cannot. Even ice cubes made from tap water can cause severe stomach infections. Let's take a look at a real example. Linda, a 76-year-old retired teacher, had always dreamed of exploring Southeast Asia. Her bucket list included tasting authentic street food and experiencing the vibrant flavors of Thailand. On her second day, she ate a fresh salad from a street vendor and enjoyed a cold juice with ice. By the next morning, Linda was doubled over in pain with severe stomach cramps and vomiting. She was rushed to a local clinic where doctors diagnosed her with bacterial gastroenteritis, an infection caused by contaminated food. Linda spent the next 4 days in a hospital bed, missing out on the trip she had planned for years. How to stay safe while traveling. Wear a high-quality mask in crowded spaces like airports, buses, and tourist sites to reduce your exposure to airborne germs. Wash your hands regularly and carry hand sanitizer for when soap and water aren't available. Avoid touching your face, especially after being in public spaces. Drink only bottled or purified water, even for brushing your teeth. And skip the ice unless you know it's made from filtered water. Be cautious with your food. Avoid raw or undercooked meals. Choose restaurants with good hygiene reviews. Stick to foods that are cooked thoroughly and served hot pack smart. Bring anti-diarrheal medications, probiotics, and electrolyte packets in case of stomach issues. A little caution can go a long way in helping you stay healthy and enjoy every moment of your trip. Have you ever gotten sick while traveling? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else. Now let's move on to the next important risk every senior traveler should be aware of. Risk number 3, travel fatigue and recovery challenges. Travel is meant to uplift your spirit and spark joy, but for many seniors, it can just as easily become a source of deep exhaustion. Long flights, early mornings, crowded airports, busy sightseeing schedules. While younger travelers can often recover with a quick nap or a strong cup of coffee, older adults need more time and care to bounce back from fatigue. And when that exhaustion sets in, it's not just inconvenient, it can lead to weakened immunity, confusion, irritability, and an increased risk of injury or illness. One of the biggest culprits behind travel fatigue is disrupted sleep. Sleeping in a strange hotel bed, adjusting to different time zones, and dealing with noisy surroundings can make it nearly impossible to get the rest your body needs. Jet lag, especially when crossing multiple time zones, can throw off your body's internal rhythm, causing days or even weeks of poor sleep, brain fog, and low energy. Without adequate rest, it's hard to fully enjoy the beautiful places you've waited a lifetime to visit. Another factor seniors often underestimate is the sheer physical effort travel demands. From walking miles through historic sites and museums to standing in long lines or climbing stairs in old buildings, the wear and tear on your joints and muscles adds up fast. For those dealing with arthritis, back pain, or mobility challenges, it can quickly become overwhelming, leading to soreness, swelling, and a higher risk of slips and falls, especially on uneven surfaces like cobblestone streets. Let's look at Richard's story. Richard, a 75-year-old retiree, had always dreamed of visiting Europe. He and his wife planned a whirlwind 2-week tour covering 6 iconic cities. Excited to make the most of their time, they filled every day with excursions, tours, and travel. But by day 3, Richard hit a wall. His legs ached from hours of walking. His back throbbed from carrying luggage, and he felt too drained to enjoy even the most breathtaking views. Eventually, his body gave out. He came down with a cold that worsened from lack of rest. By the time he adjusted to the time zone, the trip was nearly over. Instead of returning home refreshed and inspired, he spent the next month recovering from his vacation. How to stay energized and travel smart. Plan a slower-paced itinerary. Choose fewer destinations and allow for rest days between activities. Quality over quantity. Book comfortable, quiet accommodations. Restful sleep is essential. Consider hotels away from noisy streets or tourist hotspots. Schedule transportation at sensible times. Avoid red-eye flights, early departures, and late-night arrivals that disrupt your body's rhythm. Stay hydrated and eat balanced meals. Proper nutrition and water intake help maintain energy levels and boost your immune system. Wear supportive, cushioned footwear. Your feet and joints will thank you after a day of walking. Take breaks and power naps when needed. Especially during the first few days in a new time zone. Don't push through exhaustion. Traveling should fill you with joy, not wear you down. A little planning can help you stay energized, healthy, and fully present for every beautiful moment of your journey. Have you ever felt completely drained during or after a trip? Tell us about it in the comments. Your story might help another traveler plan a better experience. Now let's move on to the next important risk you need to be aware of. Risk number 4, higher risk of falls and injuries wandering through a picturesque town, climbing the steps of a centuries-old castle. strolling a quiet street at sunset. These are the kinds of travel moments we dream of. But for seniors, they can quickly turn dangerous. As we grow older, our balance, reaction time, and muscle strength naturally decline. That means a simple misstep, something you might have brushed off in your younger years, can now result in a serious injury, such as a sprain, fracture, or even permanent mobility loss. Unfamiliar surroundings come with unexpected hazards. Uneven sidewalks, slippery hotel bathrooms, steep staircases without handrails, cobblestone streets and narrow alleyways, cruise ships with wet decks and narrow hallways, and many of the world's most beloved travel destinations, especially historic cities, aren't designed with accessibility in mind. Ancient ruins, castles, scenic overlooks, or mountain villages may lack basic safety features like handrails or ramps. Even fatigue plays a role. When you're tired, your coordination and alertness drop, increasing your chances of a fall. Seniors with arthritis, osteoporosis, or mobility issues are at even greater risk, and the consequences can be far more serious than a bruised knee. Let's revisit Linda's story. At 78, Linda was active and enjoyed daily walks around her neighborhood. When she finally took her long-awaited trip to Italy, she was excited to explore the romantic streets of Florence. But on her second evening, as she walked down a dimly lit alley, she misjudged a curb and fell hard onto the cobblestone pavement. Pain shot through her hip immediately. Bystanders rushed to help, but she couldn't stand on her own. At the hospital, doctors confirmed she had suffered a hip fracture, one that required emergency surgery. She had to cancel the rest of her trip and spend the following months recovering, with lasting effects on her mobility. A dream vacation turned into a painful and expensive ordeal, and one that changed the way she moved for the rest of her life. How to protect yourself from falls while traveling? Choose accessible destinations. Look for places that prioritize senior-friendly travel with elevators, ramps, and smooth level walkways. Book smart accommodations. Ensure your hotel has safety features like well-lit hallways, elevators, and non-slip bathroom floors. Wear proper footwear. Supportive, closed-toe shoes with non-slip soles are a must, even for short strolls. Listen to your body. Fatigue increases your risk of injury, so pace yourself and take regular breaks during sightseeing. Use a walking aid if needed. A lightweight foldable cane or walking stick can offer extra balance and support in tricky terrain. Avoid poorly lit or unfamiliar areas at night. Carry a small flashlight or use your phone light if needed. Invest in travel insurance. Choose a plan that covers injury treatment, emergency transport, and hospital stays abroad, so you're not left facing hefty bills after an accident. A fall can happen in a split second, but its impact can last a lifetime. With the right planning and precautions, you can explore the world safely and confidently. Have you ever had a close call or fall while traveling? Share your experience in the comments. It could help others avoid the same mistake. Now let's take a look at the final and most unexpected risk, the one that could cost you thousands if you're not prepared. Risk number 5, financial risks and travel insurance gaps. When planning a dream vacation, most people focus on flights, hotels, and sightseeing. What they often overlook, the financial risks lurking in the background, risks that can turn a joyful getaway into a devastating blow to your savings. From medical emergencies and last-minute cancellations to lost luggage and sophisticated scams, traveling without the right protection can cost you far more than you expect. And for seniors, the stakes are even higher. With age comes greater health uncertainty, increased chances of disruptions, and unfortunately, more attention from scammers who see older travelers as easy targets. The cost of medical emergencies abroad. Here's the harsh truth. Most health insurance plans, including Medicare, don't cover you internationally. Many seniors assume their medical needs will be taken care of no matter where they are. But outside the U.S., that's rarely the case. Medicare offers no coverage outside the U.S. except in rare, specific scenarios. Some supplemental plans may help, but only partially, and often with high deductibles and limits. Private insurance plans frequently exclude overseas coverage or only reimburse certain types of care. If something goes wrong while you're abroad, you could be on the hook for the full bill, and these bills aren't cheap. A hospital stay in Europe, $5,000 to $20,000, plus a medical evacuation, $50,000 to $200,000 treatment for a fracture, infection, or surgery, thousands more. And remember, these costs are often required up front, before care is even provided. Trip cancellations. A pricey what-if. Seniors often book trips months, sometimes a year in advance, but life happens. A sudden illness, a fall, a family emergency. These can derail your plans in an instant. Without trip cancellation insurance, you could lose everything you've prepaid. Airlines may offer only partial refunds or none at all. Hotels and cruises often have strict, non-refundable policies. Tour operators may demand full payment upfront with no refund options, even for valid reasons. It's heartbreaking to see travelers lose thousands of dollars on a vacation they never even got to take. Unfortunately, scammers know that older tourists are more likely to be trusting and less familiar with modern fraud tactics. That makes seniors prime targets for travel scams, especially in high tourist areas. Here are some of the most common traps. Fake vacation rentals. Scammers post beautiful listings that don't actually exist. You send payment and arrive to nothing. ATM and credit card fraud. Fake ATMs or card skimmers steal your bank info the moment you make a transaction. Overpriced taxis. Drivers may take scenic and expensive detours or claim the meter is broken. Free gifts and tours. You're offered a rose, bracelet, or photo, then harassed for an outrageous fee. These tricks can cost you not just money, but also peace of mind. How to protect your wallet and your trip. Buy comprehensive travel insurance. Look for a policy that covers medical emergencies, hospital stays, medical evacuations, trip cancellations, and baggage loss. Know what your current health plan covers and what it doesn't. Don't assume Medicare or your regular insurance will help overseas. Pay with a credit card, not debit, for added fraud protection. Be skeptical of deals that seem too good to be true. Book directly through reputable companies and double-check listings. Set up travel alerts with your bank so you're notified of suspicious activity. Learn common scams in your destination before you go. It could save you thousands. A trip should give you memories, not financial regret. Whether it's a hospital bill, a lost deposit, or a slick scam, the cost of being unprepared can be overwhelming. But with the right coverage and a bit of foresight, you can protect your health and your wallet and travel with confidence. Have you ever lost money while traveling due to illness, cancellation, or a scam? Share your experience in the comments. It may help others avoid the same fate. The heartbreaking tale of George and the illusionary paradise. At 76 years old, George, a recently retired teacher with a lifelong dream of traveling, finally decided to treat himself to the tropical vacation he had always imagined. After months of meticulous planning, he stumbled upon what seemed to be the perfect beachfront hotel through an online travel website. The photos showcased stunning ocean views, luxurious rooms, and palm trees swaying in the breeze. The price was surprisingly reasonable, and the listing was backed by several glowing reviews. Eager not to miss out on such a gem, George went ahead and booked a non-refundable one-week stay, paying in full in advance. With his bags packed and his excitement building, he set off on what was supposed to be a trip of a lifetime. But upon arrival, George's dream quickly unraveled into a nightmare. Instead of being greeted by the welcoming staff and the sound of waves crashing on the shore, he found himself standing in front of a crumbling, abandoned building. The address on his booking led nowhere. Confused and alarmed, he tried calling the customer service number listed in his confirmation, only to find it had been disconnected. Worse yet, the entire website where he had made the reservation had vanished without a trace. With no accommodation and limited options, George was forced to scramble for a last-minute hotel, which ended up costing him more than twice what he had originally paid. His dream vacation had started with stress, disappointment, and a painful financial blow. George's story, unfortunately, is far from rare. In recent years, fake travel listings and sophisticated online scams have surged dramatically, stealing not only people's hard-earned money but also their peace of mind. These scams have cost travelers millions of dollars globally and can ruin what should be joyful, enriching experiences, especially for older adults looking to make the most of their golden years. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What was the most valuable lesson you took away from today's video? Have you ever faced an unexpected challenge while traveling? Maybe a booking gone wrong, a health scare, or a travel hiccup that taught you something important? Share your story in the comments below. We know your experience could help others stay safer on their journeys too. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on our latest tips for smart, safe, and enjoyable senior living. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe, travel smart, and keep making unforgettable memories. Safe travels.